One of the great things about working at Dygma, besides being part of the team that creates badass looking keyboards like the Dygma Defy or the Dygma Raise OG, is being able to test a lot of keyboards for free. Well, wait, they pay me to do it. So I thought, why not put all that useful testing to work and make something useful for you? So we gather all the keyboards that we've tested with tenting, and we are going to make a tier list of all the tenting solutions of these keyboards. The first important thing for those of you that are new to the channel and don't know what tenting is, let me explain what the benefits of tenting are. Basically, when you type on a normal keyboard, your hands are pronated. That means facing downwards. That makes your bones on your arms cross, pinching your muscles, your nerves, and reducing blood circulation on your wrist. If you rotate your hands, those bones are no longer crossed and it alleviates pressure on your wrist. So ideally, you'd want to have your arms as unrotated as you could, but sometimes just a little bit will help a lot. I'm going to review or rate all these tenting solutions in chronological order, but not in the chronological order of when they were designed, but when I tried them. So that way you can understand my feelings and where I'm coming from with some of the things that I mentioned. The first tenting solution that I ever tried was the one from the Ergodox. As you can see, by default, the Ergodox leg is completely flat on the table, but you can get these little side legs. And if you unscrew and then place them into position, you have to be careful to find the right position and then lock them into place. It's important that you find the right position. So as you can see, you get a tenting solution of a little less than 10 degrees. You can adjust it if you want, but you always have to kind of unscrew this and find the right position. You could even just have this flat and put it like that. So you could eventually find a reverse tilted position, but you have to be careful because it could be wobbly. So the problem with this tenting solution, besides only being able to reach up to, I would say, 8 degrees, is that it's very difficult to set up. You need to unscrew, unscrew again, and you really need to be careful to find exactly the right balance for your tenting angle or the keyboard would wobble. So overall, I would give this an F tier position because it's really picky to put it into position. The tenting solution is not very high and it can be wobbly fairly easy. The good thing is that there are better solutions coming up. The next keyboard that I tried was the Kinesis Advantage. Oh, nice. So as you can see, this keyboard is very bulky, but it has like, I would say, default tenting. It's only one position. Kinesis says that it's about 20 degrees because the keys inside the key well, you can see it here, are tented inwards. So it's not like your whole arms are completely rotated, but you can see that they are not completely flat either. This tenting solution has one benefit. It's sturdy, you're not going to have any wobble, but you're limited to just the degrees that you have here, which are about 20 degrees. I will give this probably a C tier because 20 degrees is a fairly nice angle, but you're limited to that. You cannot go back to 10 or 5 or 0 or up to 30 or 40 degrees. And one of the important things about ergonomics is switching up your position. It's not about finding the perfect position, but being able to change between different positions. The same way that you use a standing desk to work a little bit standing up, then sitting down. The same thing you want to do with tenting. You want to be using no tenting, then a little bit of tenting, then more tenting. And that will help you change different positions during the day. Next up, let's talk about other keyboards that have fixed tenting solutions. Okay, so we have here all these different keyboards that have one thing in common. They have a little bit of tenting. Most of them have between, I would say, 2 or this kind of like deluxe imitation of the Logitech. We have 8 degrees in the Logitech, about 7 degrees on the Neo Ergo, and also 7.5 degrees on the Perix Periboard. These tenting solutions have the same benefits and the same drawbacks as the one that I mentioned before from Kinesis. You're fixed to one angle, in this case, more or less between 3 or 7 degrees, and you cannot go up or down. The good thing is that they are very stable, and also it's a fairly low angle, which is really easy to get used to. These kind of keyboards are all, I would say, transitional keyboards, probably your first ergonomic keyboard in your ergonomic keyboard journey. If you want to learn more about that, check out this other video. That makes sense, right? They are not fully split, they still keep their staggered layout, so it makes sense that the tenting solution is a not very steep one. I would rate this as C tier because even though it's not a lot of tenting, at least it's very stable and it's an amount of tenting that is adequate for their purpose. And now let's move to the tenting solution of the original Dygma Raise. Anna, take this away. I'm back. This is the tension solution that we designed for the original Dygma Raise. It's an add-on that you add to the keyboard that otherwise is flat, and we designed it so you could change through different angles easily. It goes from 10 to 20, 30, and then 40 degrees. And you can also use it at 0 degrees, but it has a drawback there. We'll get to that later. So you just remove the legs, select the angle here on the angle selector, and for example, if I click here, you can see that it snatches into position, and then you place it on the table and you have 40 degrees. If you want to go to 0 degrees, you just snap it out and put it into 0 degrees. As you can see, the problem with 0 degrees is that it raises the keyboard about 1 centimeter. So this solution, I would say it's not perfect, but it's really, 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 really sturdy. You're not gonna get it to wobble. It feels like you could stand on this tenting solution. And you get 20 degrees, much more than with the Ergodox that we saw before, or the Kinesis Advantage, and of course, much more than those Logitech and whatnot. This makes sense as an add-on because we wanted to give more functionality to the Dygma Raise, and it was something that our community valued a lot. It gave you a lot of range to try different things, but as I said, it was not perfect, so that's why I give it a B tier. It's really sturdy, it's really flexible, but it has room for improvement. Next up, let me talk about the tenting solution of the UHK, which has a similar form factor as the Dygma Raise. No magic this time. This is the UHK. As you can see, here is the tenting solution. You can bolt legs to the keyboard, be it here at the bottom or here at the center. That helps you get either tenting or reverse tilting. With more recent versions of this keyboard, you don't need to bolt it. You just put the leg and twist and it will snap into position. This solution is a fairly simple solution. You just deploy the legs and you put it, and then you have 7.5 degrees of tenting. If you want a little bit less, you can just fold them and then you have about 3.5 degrees. The problem with this solution is that you cannot go back to 0 easily. You need to remove the legs to go back to 0 degrees. The good thing about this solution is that you can also place them at the back of the keyboard or the front, depending on what you call front and back, and you can get reverse tilting. This also helps with keeping a neutral hand position, especially when you're working on a standing desk or you're sitting really high. It might seem a little bit uncomfortable because this works best with the optional wrist rests that you can get for this keyboard. For the UHK, there's another accessory which we wouldn't have, that is called the Riser 60, which allows tenting up to 60 degrees, more than the Dygma Raise that we saw before. But it has a not very elegant solution. It looks like a book stand where those things you read on, you know, that you can clack, 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 put it into position, and it also adds height to the keyboard. The good thing is that it offers very granular positions from 5 to 60 degrees in 5 degrees increments. That is something that we like a lot. I would rate these solutions C tier because you have to remove the legs if you want to move from tenting to using it flat or to use reverse tilting. And for the Riser 60, I'm doubting between a C tier and a B tier because it has this granular positioning, which is really good, and it's up to 60 degrees. But at the same time, it's not a very elegant solution and it's really bulky and adds height to the keyboard. Let's now talk about the Moonlander solution. The Moonlander has two different tenting solutions. One that comes by default with the keyboard and one that is called the platform that you can get as an extra. The default solution is very similar to the one from Ergodox. You can move this leg and twist it into position, and also you can adjust this to create tenting. Also, the tenting is about 7.5 degrees. The problem with this solution is now the thumb cluster is farther away because it's bent downwards, and now I have to stretch my thumb farther down to reach it. So, if you really want tenting with the Moonlander, I would recommend getting the platform. The platform is like a big metal piece, kind of like a big metal hinge that attaches to the keyboard and that you can regulate using this tool. You can turn it, and then you can see it slides from about 7 degrees up to 60 degrees. You have some notches here to kind of like know what the different angles are, but it free flow. So you can really find the best position that you like. Once you find it, you just put it in place, and that is it. The good thing about this solution is that you don't need to bend the thumb cluster downward. You can put it into position and then turn this way. You have to turn the opposite way. It says it here. Now this way the thumb cluster is flat and you will be able to reach more thumb keys. You might think watching this video that this doesn't look very comfortable, and it's right, because I'm not sitting correctly. My elbows are too low. If you want to use tenting, you really need to change your position. I should be sitting higher, maybe having a standing desk and being like this. Now I'm out of frame, and now I'm back in frame. Going back to the tenting solution of the Moonlander, the good thing is that if you want to fold the keyboard and put it away or put it in your backpack, you don't really need to release the position. You can just release it from there, fold the leg inside, and then fold it like that. The bad thing is that there's really no zero angle position. Even if you release this and you put it here, this is the minimum angle that you'll be working with. The other thing that I don't like about this tenting solution is that if you put it in place, you'll see that it's stable, like it doesn't wobble, but it rattles a lot. You know, this is very, 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 I would say not wobbly, but bendy is the word. It flexes a lot. You can see that if I press, especially these inner keys here, they flex a lot. This is more noticeable if I put it in lower angles. The lower the angle, the more noticeable that this flex will be. And as I said, you can see that it moves really easily out of position. We will do this test with other keyboards too. If you want us to do a deep review of this keyboard or any keyboard that you see on this video, please let us know in the comments below. And if you want to know more about how to sit properly and adjust your posture when using a tented keyboard, watch this other video. The good thing about this solution is that it goes up to 60 degrees and that you can easily fold it. But it's rattly, it flexes a lot, and you cannot use the keyboard at 0 degrees. Plus, you always need this Allen key around you to adjust to different positions. So because of all that, I cannot give it anything more than a C tier. So let's put the keyboard and the Allen key away and move towards the Keyboardio's 100 tenting solution. This is the Keyboardio model 100 with the tenting solution, which is called the standing key. As you can see, it's kind of like a spider or an octopus that you can simply unscrew and screw back from your keyboard. This is really useful if you want to move from tenting to non-tenting position. The problem with this solution is that, as you can see, it's a little bit bulky, but it's more flexible than you would think. The good thing about this solution is that you can use it for tenting. So if you put the max arrow here, you will have up to 7.5 degrees, but you can also rotate this pointing to you, and you will have reverse tilting. As we said before, to use reverse tilting, you need to sit higher, otherwise your hands will be like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. If you want, you can even rotate it and point it like that, and you will have positive tilt. But positive tilt is not really a good thing for ergonomics, unless you're really chilling like that. So how would I rate this solution? For me, it's C tier because the angle options are very limited, but it's really, really stable. And also it's really easy to remove. You just have to remove it from here and to adjust the different positions just by rotating the standing kit. Let's talk now about the tenting solution of the Dygma Defy. So this is the Dygma Defy, and you would say, Mikel, where is the tenting solution of the Dygma Defy? Well, it's hidden here. Let me show you how it works. You deploy these little side legs. We'll talk about them about later. And you can deploy the big legs too. And then you have an angle selector. You have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 35, 45, and 60 degrees of tenting. Let's go, for example, for 45. And then you put the keyboard, and that's 45 degrees. Let's say that you want 5 degrees. Just grab the keyboard, put this away. Now select 5 degrees and put it into position. 5 degrees. Let's say you don't want tenting anymore, or you want to take your keyboard with you to work. Then you just fold the legs, and the keyboard is flat, and you could put it away on the travel case and in your backpack or whatever you want. We think that this solution is really elegant for various reasons. The most important one, it folds neatly away on the keyboard, so it's not bulky and it's lightweight, and you can use the keyboard from 0 degrees up to 60 degrees. Plus, it also has reverse tilting. There's some inscriptions here, like A and A, and now you have 5 degrees. And if you want, you deploy this bigger leg, and you put this in B, and now you have 10 degrees reverse tilting. I would rate this solution as A tier, and you would say, Mikel, you designed this, not me, the team. Why don't you give it an S tier? Well, at Dygma we always think that there is room for improvement, and there are some things on the tenting solution of the Dygma Defy that we think could be improved. For example, if you forget to deploy the side legs of the tenting, you can see that the keyboard wobbles a little bit if you force it. Not a lot, but it wobbles. And if you use it in higher angles, it's a little bit more noticeable. That's because I didn't deploy the side legs. If I deploy them, you can see that the keyboard is completely stable. But many times you forget to deploy these legs, and the keyboard is wobbly, and then you have to deploy them, and it's a little bit annoying. We had to use these side legs for one main reason. As you can see, the keyboard is not completely straight on this edge. So if we don't have the side legs, that's what causes the keyboard to wobble. Other keyboards, like for example the UHK, is completely straight on the side, so they don't need those side legs. The reason why the keyboard is not completely straight is because we wanted to make the pad pad wider on this area. That is needed for two things. One is because many people use the keyboard slightly slanted, and they need this area of the palm pad and the palm rest to rest their palms. The other one has to do with gaming. Many people game with WASD instead of ESDF, so they move their hand one column to the left. So if the palm rest is in a good position here, if I didn't have that extra width, my hand would fall off the keyboard. So that's why we need the keyboard to be wider. And the same on the right side, in case that you are left-handed and you want to use your mouse with the left and your right hand for gaming. Another little caveat of the Dygma Defy tenting solution has to do with its strength. You saw before how the original Dygma Raise tenting kit was like a tack. This solution is much more elegant, but it's not so strong. If you press at the top key with all your strength, you can see that the keyboard flexes a little bit. But during normal typing, it's completely stable. Let me show you. It's completely stable even at low degrees like 5 or higher degrees like this is 25. And also, since the tenting legs are a bit on the small side, if you really push the keyboard, you can slide it through the table. Like it's not gonna move in normal use, but you can push it and it's not completely stuck on the table. Another thing that we want to improve is how sturdy these legs feel, especially on the hinge. So we want them to move freely, but you all want them to move. You see, do this, it moves. That means that if this gets any looser, when I change positions of the tenting, or if I move the keyboard around, maybe I do this and it falls. We don't want that. So we are looking into ways of making this hinge a little bit more strong. Another solution to this problem would be that this rod really clicks into position in the angle selector, or that maybe there's some kind of spring that keeps this in place. Maybe one day when we make all these changes, we might rate this solution as S tier. Let's move over to the Glow Fade solution. Okay, since the Glow Fade has a concave keywell, by default it already has some tenting. It's about 10 degrees, and you can see it here, and also you can see here on the keywell. But you can tent it even further. However, the solution, as you may see, is not ideal. To tent the Glow Fade, you just have to unscrew these legs here, and you have to unscrew all the legs. And as you can see, now my keyboard is tented. But one of the problems is precisely this. It rocks. Why does it rock? Because it has 5 points in contact with the table. And everybody knows that making 5 different points of contact completely flat is really difficult. You know, a table rocks and it has 4, imagine 5. So you have to find the right length for each of the legs until you find a combination. Then we'll make it not rock. Okay, now, once you find the right combination, which you can because these are screws that you can unscrew and screw until you find the right position, then it's rock solid. But let's say you want to change angles, you want a higher angle or a lower angle, then you have again to adjust 5 different screws on both sides of the keyboard. If you want higher angles, such as 25 or 30 degrees, you need to use different legs. They come in the box. These are the legs, and you also have extra bottom legs, and you can swap them out. Let's try to swap one out. So I can remove this one, for example. You'll have to remove all of them. So this one is short, and you can change it for this one that is much longer. And they provide also with the tips. So you can screw this, and you also have the sticker for the leg. Put it in place. And then you can screw this leg. I'm gonna do this for all the legs and show you the higher tenting position. So after changing the legs for ones that are a little bit longer, you can get a higher tenting. But every time that you want to move from one tenting solution or from one tenting angle to another, you need to unscrew legs, re-screw legs, and if you want to use no tenting, you have to completely change the legs. And as I said, if you screw it too much, you know, you're gonna have this wobbling here, or you have to adjust it and then adjust it again. It's true that once you find the perfect angle, it's stable enough. But these tips here are not anti-slip. So the keyboard really slides around unless you have maybe like a test mat. For all these reasons, I'm gonna give this tenting solution a F tier. It's really cumbersome. You have to adjust 5 legs on each side, screw them to the perfect position, or even change the legs if you wanna swap between different angles. Let's put this away and talk now about the solution of the ZSA Voyager. The ZSA is a slim profile little keyboard, but it also comes with its own tenting solution. The tenting solution is simple but effective. It has magnetic legs that you can easily remove. It has some marks that you can put it into position, and you get about 5 degrees of tenting. If you don't want tenting, you can put them away in this little metal piece here that has its own marks. So you can put them away here and here and store it in the travel case and put that away, and your keyboard is flat again. This is not a lot of tenting, but for a small keyboard like this, it's a good solution. And if you want more tenting, ZSA offers a tripod mount that goes here and that it's magnetically attached. And you can attach that to a tripod and maybe put that on your desk and type. I rate the integrated solution a C because the angle is very low, but the other solution, the magnetic one that you can attach to a tripod, can become a B tier because it gives you a lot of flexibility. It's true that you need multiple accessories, that taking them with you is a bit more complicated than folding the system on your keyboard, but it offers a lot of customization. And now, before moving into the Raise 2, let's talk about some honorable mentions. Some keyboards that we don't have but have tenting solution. I want to mention, for example, the Kinesis Freestyle that has a tenting solution that allows up to 20 degrees and even has a special tenting solution that allows up to 90 degrees. However, that solution is really heavy and adds up to a kilogram to the keyboard. The other one is the Kinesis Advantage 360, which has tenting from 20 to 30 degrees in 3 positions, 20, 25, and 30. I'm not gonna rate those because I haven't tried them, but I wanted to mention them because they exist. And finally, the tenting solution for the Raise 2. As you can see, it uses a very similar solution as the Defy. Again, it has legs that fold into the body and these little side legs that help with the stability of this side here, which again is not completely flat because in case you want a game, you move your hand to WASD and you really need the support here. What improvements did we include in the Raise 2 compared to the Defy? First and most important, we made these legs much more sturdy. You can see that even if I do like that, they don't move. Another thing that we have included are these little notches here that you can use to easily grab the legs. And as a little treat, at least on the left side, when you pull the big leg out, the side legs are pulled too. Like the Defy, the Dygma Raise 2 is also super stable at any angle, be it something like 15 degrees or even higher like 45 degrees. Of course, if I push the farthest key there, you can see a little bit of flexion, but you're not gonna be pressing those keys so hard. The Raise 2 also has reverse tilting that you can easily put into position to have reverse tilting, and just as the Defy 2, you can go up to 60 degrees and then 45, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5 and also 0 degrees. To go back and forth from different positions, you just fold the keyboard and go back to 0 degrees. You can put the keyboard together if you want. Let me fold this, put the keyboard together, which is a feature of the Raise 2, and take it away in your backpack. In both sides of the keyboard, you'll find that the degrees are engraved here on the base, so it's easy to set both legs and both sides at the same degree. I would rate this solution as A+ because it's a little bit better than the Defy, but still not S tier. As I said, we love for this rod to click into position or have some kind of spring that keeps it completely into position. But these little notches and the fact that the legs are much sturdier and you cannot just move them even if you want, makes this solution a little bit better. Of course, the next time that we make a batch for the Defy, we'll try to implement these improvements into that production. The final tier list is as follows. In the A+ position, the Dygma Raise 2. In the A, the Dygma Defy. As you see, we are a little bit biased toward our products. In the B tier, we find the Rise 60 of the UHK and the OG Raise tenting kit solution. Then I will go to the F tier, where we'll find the solution for the Glove AD with all the little legs that you have to screw and unscrew, and the solution for the Ergodox tenting. And in the middle, in the C, everything else. The Moonlander, the Keyboardio, the Voyager, the Kinesis, and all the other fixed keyboards like the Neo Ergo, the Logitech, or the Kinesis Advantage. I hope you liked this video, and if you want us to go deeper into any tenting solution or any keyboard in particular of all the ones that we've shown, please let us know in the comments below. And of course, if you want to watch more videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a video. And that's it. In the next video, you'll see Dominic back. Don't worry. Bye bye.